I'm now going to read my chapter 6 of my fiction, A Series of Miseries, a novella that you can find on Amazon.com if you're interested. It's a easy afternoon read, a day read at the beach, or if you like mystery, detective stories. I really enjoyed writing it, so it's been a lot of fun. But let me just do chapter 6 today. About a week prior to these events, Red had filled out an adoption form online to be accepted, hopefully, to adopt a young cat or two. Having been approved, he went to the SPCA and was ushered into a room by a very busy and red faced middle aged woman and asked to greet the cats to see if he was interested in adopting one or more of them. There were in the room, supposedly siblings, both gray. He was sort of disappointed. He was hoping to get an orange or a black cat, as he had one of each of these colors when his daughter was alive, and he remembered them fondly, although they had both died of old age and sickness a few years back. Red played with the two cats in the room named Milo and Sassy. It didn't take long for the cats to choose him. He wasn't going to be able to leave without them, never forgive himself. So he filled out the forms and paid the fee. Spayed and neutered with updated shots, Milo and Sassy made themselves at home at Red's home. For the rest of their lives, it was to be their home too. With all of the stress of the last 24 hours, Red thought it would be perfect time for a workout while the cats made themselves at home. He needed to exercise to keep his strength up, particularly the strength of the muscles that carried on the involuntary act of breathing, because the statin intolerance had damaged his muscles and he was bouncing back by sheer force of will, and he believed the mercy of God. Red lifted weights and worked on his boxing and fighting art skills as he had done for the last 50 years. His boxing days were over 40 years previous to this, and he could hardly remember the competitions. There is no glory in the past that is not empty. Red's phone rang out the blues riff several times while he was working out, which he happily ignored while he exercised and watched his new kittens explore this workout room and house. He was working with a rubber knife on his hard plastic human sized punching target when it rang the sixth time, and he decided that if someone was that persistent, he might as well answer it. It was Daquan. Red, why aren't you answering your phone? Red tried to respond, but Daquan didn't stop. Tarantella killed himself. He tied his sheet to the bedpost in his cell and then wound it around his neck and leaned until he passed out, and then he died before anyone got to him. Daquan was very upset. Red thought for a second. Who found him? Zumi did, Daquan replied. Did you see the scene? No, Zumi called me off the road. Red was silent for a second. This is very weird. Does Zumi know I was there? Not yet. Okay, best if it is left that way. Red had a lot to think about, and he didn't want to think about any of it. Has anything been done with the car, or laptop, and cell phone? Daquan replied, Zumi said there was nothing that would change anything in the car or on the electronics. Daquan, he didn't say anything about the text messages on the cell phone? Not a thing. Can you find out where the electronics are being stored, if they're in our evidence room or if they've been moved to county? It was Daquan's turn to be silent for a moment. Already did. They weren't sent to county and they aren't in our evidence room. Red tossed the rubber knife aside. He had a suspicion now why Zumi had asked him to speak to O'Brien. He formulated a plan in his mind to understand better why his old friend had used him like that. He wanted to speak to Kathy O'Brien again, and he needed to make a call to Philadelphia, to an old police friend who was a little on the shady side. He was hoping for answers to some questions that were coming into focus in his mind. We'll stop there. We'll pick up with chapter 7 next time. Thank you.